For the past several days, Dick Pryor has been in Bangladesh as part of a delegation visiting media outlets in that developing country. Dick is one of 9 American media professionals on the trip, sponsored by the U.S. Department of State and the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Oklahoma. Earlier, I spoke with Dick via Skype from truly halfway around the world, 12 time zones away in the capital city of Dhaka. First of all, Dick, what's the purpose of this trip?
Liz, the reason that this trip is important is that Bangladesh is an important strategic location for the United States. And so the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication, along with the U.S. State Department, has set up this exchange program that delivers Bangladeshi journalists to the United States and American journalists to Bangladesh to further the cultural exchange of ideas and also professional ideas in journalism.
What are your impressions of Dhaka?
Well, Dhaka is unlike anything we have in Oklahoma, to be sure. Dhaka has a population of 16 million people. It is the 9th largest city in the world. There is a lot of pollution here. There is smog. Traffic is terrible, although it was a lot better for us than other travelers here because there was a hartal during the time that we were here, and that is a work stoppage that resulted in a lot of people not going out on the streets and a lot of businesses closing down. But Dhaka has some of the worst slums in the world, and we visited one of them. It also has some of the greatest development going on right now because this is a country that is developing, and a lot of foreign companies are choosing to locate in Dhaka, and we have seen the development that is going on as well as the low end of the spectrum, which is the terrible poverty here.
What has your group done in Bangladesh since you've been there?
Well, we have traveled to different locations to see television stations. We have seen 4 television stations while we've been here. There are 26 TV stations in Dhaka, with many more still to come. Many more have been approved. And in addition to the 26, 4 of those are all night, all day news channels, 24/7 news channels. So those are the ones that we have visited. We've also visited the English language newspaper, the leading newspaper, the Daily Star. This is a very important place for journalism right now because this is a fairly new country. It achieved its independence in 1971, and journalism and the media has really exploded in the last 15 years. Yet another reason why it's important for the state of Oklahoma and the University of Oklahoma to have a relationship with Bangladesh and assist these journalists in Bangladesh as they are creating their own media environment.
What is the state of the media over there, though? Is there total freedom of the press?
There is freedom of the press. However, there is concern about the government. The government does keep an eye on the news media here. There is an independent press, but independent with some limitations. That is one of the issues that we've talked about while we've been here. While we've been visiting stations, we've seen their technical facilities. They're very advanced in terms of their production techniques. They have a lot of staff. But as far as ethics and the legalities involved in the media business here, that is still evolving. The relationship at times can be tenuous, and we've seen the relationship between the journalistic organizations and the government while we've been here.
What has been the most compelling part of the trip so far, Dick?
Well, I would say walking the streets of Dhaka, you see people that are in various states of their lives. You see people that are living in extreme poverty. You see people that are trying to carve out a niche with roadside stores and shops. There is activity here at all times in Dhaka. The traffic is crazy by our standards. But the biggest and most compelling story, I think, for all of us has been the trip that we took to the largest slum in Bangladesh. You have to get there by boat. So we traveled on boats to this particular slum area where 50,000 people live in a 100-acre area. There are very small streets, if you will, pathways that help you get from place to place within the slum. It's a very depressing place, but because of the work that's been done in the last several years here by the government and non-governmental organizations, there is hope for the people, especially in those slum areas. And they're very hospitable people. They were very happy to see us stretching out a hand, especially the children who smiled and warmed up to us instantly. So when you see what life is like for many of those children, many of those families, and how despite all of the obstacles they have in front of them, they have a good attitude, they work hard, they're friendly, and they are hoping for better for their families. You just have to hope that their hopes and dreams will be fulfilled.
What about education there for those kids?
For those kids, we visited one of the schools. Education here is highly regarded, actually, but in those slum areas, in the particular one that we visited, schools are very important. They're not quite like the schools that we have in the United States. Certainly one room, everyone leaves their shoes at the door, but the children are very well disciplined. They have workbooks. The teachers are well respected in the classroom. And one of the participants here asked the students, "What do you like most about school?" Now, these were elementary age school students. "What do you like most about school?" And their answer, learning. They're excited to learn, and they were trying to show off as best they could the English that they had learned when they were speaking to us.
Wonderful. Now, you've been there at a very critical time as the country held their national elections. I understand there was a lot of tension surrounding that. Tell me about that.
There was tension. There was violence, actually. Not so much in Dhaka, but in the outlying areas, in the rural areas. There was a lot of tension. There was violence. What you have here in Bangladesh is a secular democracy. It's been that way since the inception in 1971. But this latest election had very little at stake. The majority of the seats in parliament had already been decided, in part because the opposition coalition led by the BNP, that's the opposition party, had called on candidates not to run for office in order to delegitimize this election. Indeed, in the eyes of many, it was delegitimized. And although the results were known in advance, there was a lot of activity leading up to the election in the rural areas. There were buses that were torched. There were polling places, many of them schools, that were damaged, some of them burned, in order to discourage people not to go to the polls. Some people were beaten. That's made national and international news as that has occurred. And so right now, although the Hartal, which is the work stoppage, which was designed to disrupt the election, has ended, there is still a lot of uncertainty concerning this election. Political analysts believe that Bangladesh is facing an uncertain future right now, at least politically, because of the division, the deep division between the two sides that are fighting for control of this country.
Now, I understand you had a chance to meet with the U.S. ambassador. How is the U.S. and the international community dealing with the aftermath of this election?
Well, that is part of the problem. It's complicated here. The United States and many other members of the international community have taken a more moderate approach to the elections, actually going so far as to say that there should be another election held because this one was not proper. So the United States is caught in the middle here, as are many other nations that see what is going on in Bangladesh. And while they want to support the existing government, they also see the division that is very, very obvious here, and are hoping that the two sides will come together, hold another election, one that all of the people of Bangladesh can rally around and see as legitimate, and create a government moving forward that works for all the people.
Dick, I know you've taken in a lot, but what do you think will be your major takeaway from this trip?
I think the biggest thing is that we have seen in a short period of time, over the course of several days, how a particular country is evolving, a country that has 160 million people in it. The nation of Bangladesh is about the size of the state of Iowa. It is smaller than Oklahoma, yet 160 million people live here. There are many challenges facing this country, but they are trying to move forward. They are trying to develop their economy, education. It is a progressive country. And that's why the United States views it as a strategic ally and also a very important country for the strategic interests of the United States, because it is not an extremist country. Although it is 75% Islamic, it is not an extremist. And it is an ally of the United States in this region in South Asia. So it's very important. And knowing that and seeing what is going on here, it's exciting to see how Bangladesh is trying to create a new country and how journalism is going forward, making rapid strides. Just in the last 15 years, the media environment has really matured in this country. Many of the stations, though, that are here, and there are 26, as I mentioned, there are 26 television stations in Dhaka itself. Many of them were created in just the last 3 years. There's a chance that many of them will not survive another 3 years. But right now they are developing their own style, their own methods. They're looking to the West, to the United States, for guidance in forming a brand new journalism culture and a culture of what they hope is success for the country of Bangladesh.
Well, amazing insights, Dick. Can't wait to hear more. Safe travels. Thank you, Dick.
Thank you, Liz. We'll see you soon.